My name is Paula Hines Lonergan, and I wanted to talk a little bit about information on page 265 of the book, A Courage to Heal. On that page, it mentions about how all women are potentially or can potentially be victims of violence. However, survivors of childhood sexual abuse might be more vulnerable potentially to receiving violence. It mentions some of the reasons being because of not being totally in touch with feelings. A person may not be able to gauge their own actions or the actions or intentions of others. Sometimes they're maybe oblivious to warning signs due to the fact that they may be very familiar or often do disassociation. Another mention is that if, as a child, you experience sexual abuse and no one was there to protect you, you still are in that frame of mind, basically, that you're on your own. And then sometimes, if you were told as a child that you deserve the abuse, then when the abuse happens, there's no reaction, or you don't do anything to remove yourself from the situation. In my particular case, being abused sexually by my uncle for many, many years, I found myself in a situation a couple of years after my uncle last abused me at age 19. About 2 years later, I had accidentally crashed my mother's car. And unfortunately, that was a car that was often used by my mother and my brother. And when I came home and my brother saw the car, he actually physically assaulted me. He was so angry that I had had an accident in the car. I was beat and bruised to no end, black and blue. I remember screaming, "Stop," but he didn't. He was so enraged. And interestingly, the next day, instead of telling my parents what had happened, I just flew to New York and visited a friend. It was like I was physically abused, physically assaulted, and like I had done with my sexual assaults, I remained silent. And I kept that silence. 6 months later, I did tell my father what happened, but by then the situation had passed. And my father said to me, "You never let a man put his hands on you if it's not your father." Of course, father spank you, maybe, you know. So from then on, I learned and have never allowed a man to lay his hand on me again. However, the fact is that because of what I experienced as a child into my adulthood, I allowed violence to be put upon me. And I should have acted at the time, but did not have the courage to stand up for myself. In page 266 of The Courage to Heal, it talks about how women need to learn how to defend themselves and speak up for themselves as part of their healing, as part of the courage that they need to develop to heal. My name is Paula Hines Lonergan, and time's up for me to be silent. It's time to talk about these matters so that persons that have been affected by sexual abuse can heal, and those that may be aggressors can either stop or get the help that they need to change themselves. If you'd like to send me an email, my email address is timesupforsilence@gmail.com. Send me a comment, like this video, and share. Thanks for your attention.